Hi there and welcome back to History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of my CD collection. As stated in my first part, I had taken all my CDs out to kind of find out what I was missing and where I was at in my CDs, and I have quite a few. I thought I'd really be able to knock these videos out in like two parts, two half-an-hour parts. I try and make the videos a little short so everybody, stays attentive and interested in them, but there's a bit too much, and I'm not even sure I'll be able to get through 1990, which was my intention with the first video, in half an hour. So let's just go right out the gate with what's next. I ended the video on Stevie Nicks' Wild Heart. There was one kind of lingering piece, which was this bootleg. Again, another bootleg. Again, I'll repeat at some point. I'll probably get all my bootlegs together and just do an official video on that at some point if it warrants an interest. These are the ones that are store-bought, not ones obtained on the internet of like demos. These are ones that I've gotten at used record stores and such, and they're usually pretty nice packaging, just like the vinyl ones I show you, but I try not to go out of my way to get these. This was kind of a little keepsake I got in Missouri when I went back to visit a relative. I was at a record store, and I had seen it before, but I'm like, oh, let me pick this up here. Just as kind of a little keepsake for my trip. Anytime I'm in another state, I have to go to all the record stores. So it was just something I found at that one. Plus, I think I found a Mick Fleetwood promotional radio show or something like that, which is kind of cool. There's a couple nice stores in Missouri around the Springfield area. And so this was just one little thing. So 1983 show called Leather and Lace, her and Tom Petty, although it seems to be almost all Stevie Nicks, so I'm guessing Tom Petty just came out and guested. So yeah, so there's that one. 1983, again, when I was talking about all these renditions of the Time Life, or which this one is, or Rolling Stone, this one, as you can see, does have Stevie on the cover. So, which is why I picked it up and put it with 83. The song that is on the album is Stand Back, and I think that there might be a little blurb about her on the inside, if I'm not mistaken. There it is. Nice little part. So, definitely worth having this one. To my knowledge, the Stand Back song version, though, is just the same as the record one. This is not one of those instances where it turned out to be different. It could be by a couple seconds, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But this is more about the fact that she was on the cover and that there's a little piece about her on the inside. With that said, this one is the 1980 to 1982, again with Stevie. And the song that's on this one is Gypsy. So it kind of matches the photo. Again, I think this one might have a slower intro, but nothing that's different. I think it's something that would be on the 45, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't believe that there's anything about Fleetwood Mac on the inside. Nope, they're not even mentioned, so. But for the most part, it's just that she's on the cover, so. Next up, we have Streets of Fire. Kind of hard to find on CD, which is funny because this was a whopping $2 at a used record store. Of course, the reason for this being the single Sorcerer, covered by Marilyn Martin with Stevie Nicks and Sharon on vocals, background vocals. This is just a standard USA, I'm pretty sure a Columbia House release, if I'm not mistaken. Nothing about Stevie, other than we know the fact that she is singing with Marilyn Martin on the credits, where she's not credited, but, well, says it's written by her, which is kind of cool, but not that she's on the vocals or anything. So, but just, kept in with this era because that song. Next up, we have Lindsey Buckingham's solo outing in 1984 of Go Insane. This copy happens to be from Germany. Again, this is an album I play the living crap out of all the time, and so although it is from Germany, another Target or Bullseye, whatever they call it. Not funny I say Target, but and then you think Bullseye, but it's called one of the two. Maybe I'm messing it up, but talk about a messed up. Look at that CD. If you can believe it, it still plays. But I've had this pretty much since it came out. Found it at Logos, that record store in California, and played the living crap out of it instead of preserving it as a foreign CD like I ought to have. Of course, we also thought CDs would be a little bit more durable than they were. They got scratched up pretty quickly. So, but still neat to have a German import. And oddly enough, that's the only copy that I have on CD, which is also why it's been played to death. It needs to be replaced. And you know, that one put away for good. Next up, we have Christine McVie, a promo copy of her album, her solo album. I will say the same about this one. This is just a standard US release. It appears a little bit better, but not by much because it's been played to death. Actually, both of these will come with me on long trips normally. Funny enough, I don't think this will play in the car anymore, but it still plays on the home CD player. And this one might be offset. So both of these really should go into retirement as just part of the collection. Next up, we have Against All Odds, because we have Stevie's Violet and Blue song on here. Again, another CD that seems to be kind of hard to find anymore on CD. Because I think some CDs, so I'm sure a lot of you know this, but a lot of things that we haven't seen on CD, like Buckingham Nicks, may never see the light of day. But a lot of CDs, when they first came out, they pressed CDs. A perfect example would be Missing Persons. Their Mental Hopscotch, I think is the right name of the album. That CD only got pressed when CDs first came out. So oftentimes an original, a CD of that, I think now it's been repressed, but for ages, all throughout like the 2000s, there's only that one. It was very, very expensive. Or another good example would be Sandy Stewart's Cat Dancer album. That only came out on CD when CDs were released. So it has never seen a second pressing or third pressing, and because it wasn't a big seller, it's hard to come by now. Against All Odds, I'm pretty sure, although I could double check, to my knowledge, hasn't been repressed. Maybe it has. This might be a little bit more common being a multiple artist, various artist album. But certain things like Marilyn Martin's album or Sandy Stewart's album or, Lindsey Buckingham's, certain people or Missing Persons, that only came out when CDs were first coming out around the late 80s, early 90s. And then they didn't print anymore. So that was that. And if you didn't get it at that time, you're not gonna. And if you want it now, you're going to pay a dear price for it. So that's why occasionally some of these can be worth a lot of money. So I highly advise, if you have the certain soundtracks like American Anthem, Against All Odds, just have a look. It's not about the money, but it's about that if you want it or you find it somewhere at a secondhand store, you want to grab it because you either want to maybe sell it yourself or have it for your collection. So just a key point to keep in mind. Coming up now, we have 1986. We have Rock a Little. Fabulous album. This is a Columbia House copy. Probably seen better days as well. Let's see. Yeah. It's pretty scuffed. You'll see others I have, and they're like shiny, like you can see them from outer space because they're so pristine. But other ones I just, whereas people will say that albums are bought to be played, I feel that CDs are bought to be played. And because they're compact and can travel with you, I often would play the hell out of them, just not thinking twice about it. Now I'm a little bit more, I'm at home more often instead of in my car, so I'll play my records more often, but and try and give my CDs a little break. But still, CDs are the things that you can take with you. Yes, there is streaming music, and yes, I do have on my phone, and I have an old iPod, that I can put things on that still works great. But I preferred having CD, having that in, just prefer the CD. So that was the USA This is an original Columbia House release from 1986. This is the example that I was telling you. This one in particular is from the Time Life 80's set. You can find these all over the place. Goodwill, your used record store, I'm sure of it. Or you could probably go on eBay or Discogs and find it anywhere from, 2 cents to $12. Who knows? But this one is a perfect example of Stevie Nicks features Talk to Me on the back, and it's an entirely different version than what is on the album Rock a Little or the 45 single. It's a different mix. Don't ask me which one. I don't retain that much knowledge. I know it's different. We have a fabulous person on a Facebook group who could tell you all that information right away, but I'm not that person. I forget stuff like that, or I second guess myself, so I don't say the information because I'm always concerned it's going to be incorrect. But it is an entirely different version, so it's well worth seeking this CD out for if you want a tangible copy in your collection. Yeah, unfortunately, another official bootleg. This one was kind of funny. Some friends of a friend who had a very large collections and ended up bequeathing it to me, both in handing down and in having me purchase from them. I remember seeing this. This was a Winco special. This was in a lot of Winco catalogs. So this was released as this, with this cover work by this company, Joker. This is a CD with all the artwork that you see here that was released at the time. It came out like around 1986. And, unauthorized. And anyway, this friend of a friend had this CD, and it was really cool because I hadn't seen anybody who purchased it. It was like 40 or 50 bucks on Winco, which was just astronomical at the time. CDs were already kind of expensive, with new releases being like $17 to $20, whereas LPs and cassettes were still like in the $7 or $8 price range. So obtaining this, it didn't matter to me that much, and it was a cool collectible, and it was on my wish list, but just not for that price. But when this lady had it, I just thought, oh, that's so cool, because you could finally see it. I was finally able to hear it, and then this might even be the copy that she either gave or I purchased from her eventually when she whittled down her collection. So this is kind of cool because this is an original from, maybe it didn't come out. The show was in 86, but maybe the CD came out like maybe 88 or 89. So, yeah. And again, the last one of that was one that I've seen floating around. This is more current, but this is supposed to be a Weedsport, New York, August 1986 show of Stevie's. This has been around. This is one that on cassette and in demo and trade chains is widely circulated. The CD case is broken. But they put together a nice little package. A little write-up about the show. It's nice. But I'm into live shows. I like them. But I like the trade circle better than buying stuff like that. I really don't like buying CDs. I like getting them in trade, or, sometimes they'll come with the magazine, and the magazine's they're kind of skating on thin ice themselves, attaching. When I get to 1987, there's a magazine, put a bootleg CD with it, and they're just skating on thin ice, because they're a legitimate magazine, but the CD that they put with the magazine was not an official release. So I'm not sure how they got away with it, but they did. So now we're going to get into Tango in the Night, and I think we're going to start with, let's see what we have here. So moving right into that, this CD is from Japan. No, this CD, pardon me, is from this USA one. I apologize. So just a regular standard release. Nothing really different about it. But the one in Japan came in a kind of a tan color case. Same back insert. The CD is different. Got a little bit less glare for you. And then the packaging came with its obi strip, which would have been nice if this is sealed. This would have been wrapped around like such. But it's nice that it was flat inside. And then in addition to the standard little, just like the American version, the little pamphlet inside was this little poster with, I believe, the song titles and I don't think there's any lyrics, but yeah, it could be lyrics, and it looks like it's lyrics and the song titles. But then on the back is this amazing little Fleetwood Mac family tree timeline. So that was pretty cool to find that one with this little bonus on the inside. So that would be the Fleetwood Mac Tango in the Night from Japan. And then starting off with the singles from the Tango in the Night album. The first one would be Big Love. And this was a USA promo. Now, it took me ages to find this with a sticker, because they put the sticker right on the jewel case. So for a long time I had one, because there's no back insert. So I had the CD promo, but then I discovered that there was supposed to be a sticker with it. So then I spent months tracking that down. And I was finally able to find one, and the first one I found had a big scratch in it. So then I had to get another one. So that would be Big Love. And then same with Little Lies, although this one I've had pretty much from the get-go. Still, again, no back insert, but I did find this one pretty much right when it came out. I can even tell how much the labels changed in the time I've had it. And again, this is one I played. I love the long playing version of this. I have it on vinyl to play, but, you know, in a car. And I could burn it and change it. This is still in pretty good shape. But, you know, it's just as easy to take the CD with me. So that would be the second single from Tango in the Night. And I believe the next one would have been Everywhere. And this is out of France. France, Germany, Europe. It says France and Germany, so let's just say Europe. But this came out at the time. Featured Everywhere, When I See You Again, Rhiannon, and Say You Love Me. Rhiannon would be the standard. Yeah, Rhiannon and Say You Love Me are both the standard versions. And it's a little 3-inch CD. So this is the little spacer so that it still fit into your CD player. After that would be Isn't It Midnight? Same thing, Europe, let's just say Europe. Even though on the back it does say manufactured in Germany. But then it also says France. It's so weird. Again, it looks almost identical to the 45, except on this one there are 4 songs. It has Isn't It Midnight, Mystified, Say You Love Me, and Gypsy. So nice little 4-song, 3-inch single. Then this one was the funniest one. This one I had for a long time with the back insert and the CD, but it took me a long time to find the front insert. I mean, I was willing to pay good money just to have this stupid piece of paper, because that's how I roll, with nothing on it other than Fleetwood Mac Family Man and the catalog number, because it goes with the CD. And you'll find them most. I mean, it was there for years before I even knew there was a front paper insert. There had always been the back insert, which is odd because the other ones didn't have a back insert, but this one did. But yeah, I had no idea that there was the front one, so I was really happy to finally come across that. And that was it for, oh no, there's one more. There is this single, little 3 Japan CD single, which is really cool, having it packaged. It's the only one I've ever seen packaged like this. This is, I think, packaged to be a little bit more of a little, almost like a little art piece. I mean, you can certainly open it up, and I'll show you in another one coming up here that there's instructions how to fold it down so it becomes compact size like this, because that's how it's supposed to be. But, you know, fold it up. I mean, this is the size, this picture is the size of the single. So I think that this one, as it is, was supposed to be more kind of a little showcase piece, to be honest. That's what I think, anyway. You could certainly open it up and make it small, but I find it odd that they packaged it like this to make it all nice. So that would be the last of the singles and such that I have, yes, from Tango Night. Kind of a little lingering spirit, though, would be this. I think this came out in the 90s, but there's literally no date on it. I have a lot of these random CDs like this, tributes to Fleetwood Mac. This one is Tribute to Fleetwood Mac, performed by the Stars at Studio 99. Kind of like that one I told you about from Rumors. If you see the LPs, which I think you'll see the LP video before you'll see the CDs, or maybe not. But anyway, with the album of Fleetwood Mac, and Into Rumors, there was a like a tribute album, and I had it as a kid, and oh man, I wanted it so bad. And even though I can read everything on the front, I didn't realize that it was somebody else singing the songs. I just thought it was a different album. And when I got home and put it on, I'm like, what in the bloody hell is this? This is unacceptable. And, you know, come to find out as I grow up, there are all sorts of tribute bands, and people tribute in strings. There's one that's all string instruments, and one that's all vocals, and one that's like lullabies and all sorts of stuff. But this one, I think, came out around the time of Tango the Night, mostly because the latest songs on there are Seven Wonders and Everywhere towards the bottom. So I'm going to imagine that this came out around 87, 88. And it is made in, I want to say, yeah, I'm not even sure about that either. It seems like it's an import, but it's not, actually it's kind of nice. This one kind of, you know, it's kind of music-y, you know, elevator music, but it's actually kind of one of the more pleasant CDs. Not a lot of vocals. I mean, there is, but it's very quiet. It's very nice. So that was kind of neat. Now we're getting into the greatest hits. I think, again, I'm going to make yet another 30-minute video by just doing the, oh no, wait, there is this too. I actually had brought this up, but I didn't know where to put it. I had brought this up because it should go with Rumors, right? But it came out during Tango the Night. And this is a really odd box set. This is made in France. I believe it's numbered somewhere. No, maybe I'm wrong. It took me a long time to find it on Discogs, and not by the catalog numbers that I have here. But it's a really nice box. Very obviously, you know, well made. It's not like a Winco or a fan-made thing, for sure. And then inside, you open it up. Nice box, like I showed you. And then you have this little tissue paper. And then these are their own catalog numbers that seem to go with. Remember how another one had that little exclamation mark on it? I thought maybe it could be part of a box set, not so sure. But it matches the USA one. But it says made in Germany. So I'm going to guess it's just a German box set that came out. I've seen a couple like this. You know, this one I just happened across at the right time, had the money at the time. So I like to get kind of things that are kind of different. Same thing, made in Germany. CD isn't much different than the American CD. Made in Germany in the back. But there's no numbers on it or anything like that to indicate that it is a numbered box or where it's from, or there's nothing in Discogs that I could find who issued it, where it came from. There's a little sticker on the plastic wrap, I want to say. The box came in, that was about it as far as information was concerned. So I tried to look it up by these names and such like that with no luck. So, but yeah, so that was kind of cool. And on that note, I guess I should bring up this one that I certainly didn't forget, but it also came out in the 90s, or I mean around Tango the Night. And I had also shown this with the LPs, just because I was talking about how it looked like an LP. But I should have shown this around Rumors time. But this was a box set that came out in, I have the date somewhere, but this is definitely numbered. Really nice. HMV Classic Collection Compact Disc, includes 12-page booklet. HMV Limited comes inside once you open the box. This really nice little pamphlet here. Not too much, you know, like nothing unseen on the inside, but just nicely put together. Really nice write-up, though, about the album. There's actually a lot more about early Fleetwood Mac than there is about Rumors. But, I mean, there's plenty about it, but it's just kind of funny to me. I like this part showing some of the newspaper articles about Rumors at the time. Underneath the little pamphlet is a letter telling you about how HMV decided to release this and why. Kind of in honor of anniversaries and such. And then you have in the back, you have the CD itself. Now, the only unfortunate part, now this one looks just like, almost verbatim to the one that's in this other box that I just showed you, which I find is funny. The back part here. As does the CD. And the only thing that bothers me about this one is I wish that somewhere on the CD, on the sleeve or on the case or on the CD itself, it had numbers that corresponded with the being numbered here. Because realistically, you could just plop in any CD to these box sets. You know, if this one got messed up or something like that, you could pop in another CD and you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know what it looked like. You wouldn't know if that was one that was supposed to go with it or not. Number-wise, I don't think... I can't recall if this one has its own selection or not. I mean, it needs to be in Discogs, different from this one and other ones made in Germany and such. But anyway, but Discogs is really weird because if this doesn't have a different number, even though it's part of this box set, oftentimes they don't want to call it a different entity. They just want to say, well, no, that we already got that listing. If you try and say, well, no, several of these are with a box set and each box set is numbered, sometimes, not always, but oftentimes they'll ignore it or not merge contributions to being the correct item because they say, well, no, it's already in here as that, and the CD itself does not have any numbering like the box does, so it kind of doesn't count to them. And if you're a collector, of course it counts. It it matters. That CD, this CD here is different from this CD, and so on. So that's a little bit bothersome to me, but it's a beautiful, beautiful presentation. And when I bought it, I at first thought it was an album, but obviously it was a CD. So I'm going to end on that again to keep this video short, and we will pick up with Behind the Mask, and hopefully be able to get from, actually no, Greatest Hits, because that would be afterwards. I apologize. Greatest Hits, and maybe we'll be able to get through Behind the Mask. So thank you again for joining me, and I'm going to pick this right up where we left off in just a minute, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night. Bye.